What is up, everybody? Welcome to Party on Broad. Today, our NFL draft coverage for 2024 rolls on. Today, we are breaking down the top 10 linebackers in the group. Guys, if you're new to the channel, please be sure to subscribe. Also, if you love the NFL draft, this is our 4th edition. Earlier, we covered our top 10 edge rushers, our top 10 cornerbacks, our top 10 offensive tackles, and today, we roll into Ryan Reese's favorite position, the linebackers. He is Ryan Reese at Philly Sports PSA on X. What's up, Ryan?
Nothing much, man. I have been waiting. Before we even knew we were doing this one, I always had the linebacker circled. They are absolutely my favorite position, especially when it comes to the draft. It's such a unique position because again, you're fighting kind of this NFL wide, downgrade of the importance of this position. And, then you look at a team like the Eagles and you see that their ignorance on this position has hurt them. And, it becomes more important. The fact that we are now starting and relying upon two guys off the streets, essentially, to come in and be your starting linebackers and provide some sort of plug for the bleeding that has been going on in this position for, let's be honest, many years.
Yeah, like you got to lead off with Nakobe Dean, who, let's be honest, struggling to stay on the football field. I was arguably the biggest fan of Nakobe Dean, and Ryan loves him some Nakobe Dean. It's like death taxes and a safety or a linebacker that I absolutely fall in love with. That's available for the Eagles on like day 2, and they pass on them.
Yeah.
So we'll see. This is an interesting group, interesting linebacking group. I think the top 5 or 6 guys I think are very good. Then after that, there's a tier of guys with other guys as well that are kind of in that same day 3 area that. There'll probably be a lot of changing. This is our pre-combine ranking, so a lot's going to change throughout the draft process, after the Senior Bowl, after the combine, after the team individual workouts, all that kind of stuff. But Ryan, lead us off, man. Starting with number 1, it is Jeremiah Trotter Jr.
Yeah, listen. What could be said about this guy that we probably already haven't? I mean, he's from the area, went to St. Joe's. Obviously, his father is one of the most renowned and famous linebackers of recent years, the Axeman. And listen, the story writes itself here for the Philadelphia Eagles, bringing this kid home and having Axeman Jr. come and terrorize, the NFC East. But, again, he is by far one of my favorite linebackers. And this even, again, outside of the fact of the, the history and all that, he absolutely just has just an absolute elite ability when it comes to not only pass rushing, but he does have a very good drop back when he goes into coverage. And you saw that, he made an amazing play for a pick 6 earlier in this year. And he certainly is somebody that, just kind of does it all. He seems to kind of be in that mold of what the typical NFL linebacker looks like at this point. And listen, he is absolutely plays with a fire that you can see it from, any play you put on for this kid. You see the intensity that he has. He's super competitive, energetic, and he's not necessarily the biggest guy, and that's certainly something he's going to have to work on is building up, some size here. But he's got great closing speed. And just I think his overall attitude and just the mindset that he has overcomes any weakness that he may have. I think he's certainly a great combination of athleticism, speed, and has a hit ability to go with the fact that he might be a little bit smaller than some of the bigger blockers that he's going up against. So it's great in pursuit, and he's really great in the run. He has good just instinct to kind of hit the holes and get to the runner. So I love this guy. I think it's funny. The more and more I fall in love with him, the more and more I think I'm just going to get my heart broken here. As he certainly should be a first-round linebacker. But again, as I said earlier, it's a battle between the importance of the position and how much like again, a team like the Eagles do not put a lot of importance on linebacker, and I know there's a lot of teams in the NFL that are the same way. They just don't put a high draft importance on it. So partly that, he'll probably slip a little bit. And I think I could see him, he should be, a top 15 pick, but I could see him going in the back end of kind of the first round.
Yeah, you look at it two different ways. Like, one is the production. Like, this guy's elite at blitzing, at getting after the quarterback. He's got 21 pressures this season, but he's also that modern NFL linebacker that would fit the Eagles beautifully. He's got 4 interceptions the last 2 years. He's got 2 defensive touchdowns. The dude is just a playmaker. On the other end, the business end, as we talked about on many different shows, like, this guy would probably be top 5 in jersey sales the second the Eagles make that selection, just from the try. Yeah, as Ryan.
I want to get one. I want to get one now.
So like, there's that as well, which we know it matters. But yeah, he's a first round guy. Important note here: Barrett Carter, another elite linebacker for Clemson, is decided to stay, so he's not going to be on this list as we roll on. But that's a little bit about Jeremiah Trotter. Love that guy, man. Just don't get your hopes up. Just don't get your hopes up, man. Number 2, we are steaming on, and that is Edan Cooper out of Texas A&M. This guy wasn't on my preseason linebacker rankings. I had him pegged as like a day 2, day 3 guy, but he's consistently been one of the best players in college football this season. He's posted 7 sacks in a 3-game span against Auburn, Arkansas, and Alabama, just consistently behind the line of scrimmage. He's a smooth mover. His elite, he's got length for days, man. The length of this guy is absolutely outrageous. And he's got great versatility. He can defend the run. He can blitz. He can cover. He displays the instincts to sniff out plays and utilizes plus speed to attack ball carriers in the open field. He can track down quarterbacks, whether they're in the pocket or escaping pressure. He racked up 7 sacks in 10 games, and we've kind of seen him in the slot as well. So that means he's either comfortable in like man or zone coverage. And I think Edan Cooper will likely fall into that round 2, day 2 range. But I think he's got first-round talent written all over him with the measurables. And this is absolutely a guy that should dominate the draft process, be a big name at the combine. So that is Edan Cooper. Make sure you keep an eye out for that guy. Probably a day 2 guy.
Yeah, no, he definitely rose up the rankings for sure this year. And I've even seen him, fighting Trotter for that overall number 1 spot in a lot of rankings. So, yeah, this is definitely a guy to watch. Again, unfortunately, because of the position, he'll probably fall to a day 2, early second round. But man, somebody's going to get themselves a nice starter for many years to come for Cooper, for sure.
Definitely a 3-down guy. Rolling on to number 3, and of course, Ryan had odds today, and it's covering one of my favorite prospects in this entire draft. If you watch this show, if you're familiar with the show, or any of our mock drafts, Junior Coulson, linebacker out of Michigan. Time's yours, Ryan.
Yeah, no, I felt really bad when I realized that after the excitement of knowing I was going to talk about Trotter. wore off, I realized the hurt of taking Junior Coulson from you. You're the one who absolutely got me on him. And while this year he certainly doesn't necessarily have a lot of stats per se, I don't think he's officially recorded a sack or an interception, forced fumble, but man, he's just always he's just around the ball. And that's, clearly evident when you watch any tape on this guy. He had over 100 tackles last year. I think he's got around 80 this year. And certainly, who knows, after, potentially 2 good games could eclipse that 100 mark. But still, he is definitely easily one of the most athletic linebackers you will see in this class. Just absolutely just in the backfield constantly, honestly. Just disrupts plays at a high level, but also kind of has the agility, the athleticism, the speed to go sideline to sideline when needed. Kind of has a little bit of a safety movement to him in that way. But he's also a great tackler, violent tackler, shows some strength, able to get off blocks when needed. But he's also just an intelligent player. He seems to see the field better than most. And you can see that he's always thinking of where a play is going. And man, he just has that instinct to get and close in on that tackle. So you could definitely see that, he needs to get a little bit more consistent when attacking downhill, gets a little bit over aggressive, and maybe overruns some plays. But I feel like overall, though, he's just a consistent tackler. It's not something you'll ever have to worry about him. It has, maybe some need to get a little bit more strength to kind of be more physical in the next level. But, this is a guy that's probably going to go a little under the radar, even though, again, we have him ranked as third. But, he should definitely fight for a first-round grade. But unfortunately, he'll probably be mid second round, when it all comes said and done. But man, I can't wait to see him, honestly, in the combine.
Yeah, he's going to blow up the combine. Like negative wise, I've spoken so highly on Coulson that I'll speak on more negatives. He's built like a modern linebacker. Like this, he's a great athlete, but like he doesn't have a lot of production. I think he's got the ability to be a great blitzer. I think he's got the ability to be really good in coverage. But when you look at his snaps and needle moving plays, like there aren't a lot. You mentioned he led the team in tackles by a good margin, but he's also had 0 sacks,
Right.
0 interceptions, 0 forced fumbles. There's not a lot of playmaking. So I want to make sure like that's not like this massive negative. Like he was arguably the key piece of one of the best, most dominant defenses in college football this year.
Absolutely.
But he doesn't get those big plays. So let's roll on to number 4. This one is me, Smilemund Jr. We're going to Georgia. So if you love Eagles, this guy has to be on your NFL draft radar. Munden is an elite athlete for the position. He's another guy like Junior Coulson who I think will test off the charts. That athleticism is so evident when you watch the games. He has sideline to sideline range, elite speed, always around the football. He's a guy that can track down faster players and has the play strength to stack and shed offensive linemen with ease. He rarely misses tackles. He always seems to be in the right spot. He's got click and close ability to be a major disruptor near the line of scrimmage. In pass coverage, Munden is a fluid athlete. He has the speed to cover running backs and tight ends in man coverage, but I just think he needs to add muscle at the next level. He's not the splashiest player at this position. Kind of like Coulson, he's not making these big plays, but he's a guy that can do a bit of everything, and he's rarely out of position, and he never undermines his team's needs, and he's always just a solid watch. I think a strong draft process should probably pencil him in among the first handful of linebackers off the board. He's probably going to be another day 2 guy with that Georgia 5-star recruit, elite pedigree. I'm sure he'll get some team to buy into his draft stock. But that is Smilemund Jr., who, if you've been following the Eagles the last few years, will probably be pretty high on that big board. Any thoughts on that guy?
Yeah, no, you absolutely nailed it. Obviously the Georgia connection thing is gonna always now be kind of our thing, but this guy is definitely somebody that I could easily see coming in here and fitting very nicely. Again, we have such a need, and it's like, but we need somebody in here that can, kind of play to our strengths, and I think he fits, probably, obviously I would say Trotter fits best, but man, he's right there as far as a guy that I feel like would fit the Eagles mold very nicely. And the Georgia connection thing don't hurt. So, right?
Yep, absolutely. Rolling, can you hear me?
I can, yeah.
All right, you're frozen on my video end, at least. I don't know why, but I can hear you fine. All right.
Okay. Well, weird.
Yeah, it is weird. All right, let's roll on to number 5, Tommy Ikenberg out of Ohio State. Go ahead, man.
All right. Yeah. So Ikenberg out of Ohio State was super productive last year for the Buckeyes, 120 tackles this year. He's already logged in 80. Again, didn't really have that many sacks, just had 1 sack this year, 1 forced fumble, but he was the heart of the middle of that defense. And, he can certainly be used, in the run game, defending the run. He has just such an instinct to hit the holes, get to the runner, and he's constantly in that backfield. Locates that ball with just such quickness, and really is able to get past his blockers before they even know he's there. So, he's rangy and instinctual. He seems to have filled out over from last year to this year. So he really does have a really nice NFL linebacker body, but he also is still very quick. So he certainly added some weight and some muscle, but man, he still kept that speed. And, he's an active player, high motor, and really does have a kind of determination almost, in pursuit and getting to the ball carrier. So, I absolutely like him. I think he has a good blend of athleticism, speed, and instincts that, could certainly serve him well in the next level. Probably a late day 2 or round 2, early round 3 kind of guy, depending. But I think somebody's going to get a guy who's going to put in the work and really become a leader in the NFL.
Yeah, I feel like this guy has a really high floor. I think he's not the flashiest linebacker prospect. His read and react ability, he's not as elite of an athlete as some of the guys at the top, but I think he's pro ready. I think he, from the jump, can probably be a starting middle or inside linebacker at the NFL level. So I think definitely he's probably in that day 2 range. And that is Tommy Ikenberg. Let's roll on to number 6, Cedric Gray. This guy's really interesting out of UNC. We've talked about him a lot on this show and my other show at BGN. You look at the last 3 years and counting, Cedric Gray has accumulated ridiculous numbers over that stretch. 340 tackles, 28 tackles for loss, 8 sacks, 5 picks, 12 pass breakups, 5 forced fumbles, and 5 fumble recoveries. The dude is a beast, man. And I think one of the most important measures of quality linebacker play is just how active a linebacker is. And no one can question that aspect. You just heard the numbers. He's a producer in all phases. He's been rising up the boards all season long. 6'2", 235 pounds, really good frame, really good athlete, explosive and rangy, has really good agility. He plays with like an attacking style that I think goes so well with his physical profile. He's not simply a run and chase linebacker. One of the best tacklers in this class. And yeah, I think he has upside as a coverage defender as well. He's very nimble on his feet. So this exceptional profile across the board, I think definitely projects as a 3-down linebacker at the next level. Big time playmaker, another day 2 guy in my book. That's Cedric Gray.
Yeah, no, he's a little bit of raw. Like you said, needs to add some strength. But yeah, he definitely has 3-down potential for sure. Just, again, I think needs to improve the coverage skills as well. But yeah, he's balling this year, and he's definitely going to be somebody to watch for at the combine for sure.
Yeah, he's really good. Really, really good. All right. Let's roll on to our number 7, Ben Bywater. What do we need to know about Ben Bywater?
So Ben Bywater out of BYU, certainly somebody that was not highly recruited. In fact, I believe most had him as a 2-star, some as a 3-star recruit when he came in. But the thing when you look at this guy, he certainly seems to have the perfect body. Really, good frame, good thickness to him. But he really plays at a great speed and just agility for somebody with that frame. And when you combine that with the active motor, the constant running, in pursuit, he's definitely a guy that you can't help but not notice when you're just looking at the defense for BYU. As far as coverage goes, he shows great awareness, great instincts, and anticipation when he drops back into zone, and really has the agility, the fluidity, and the speed to run with most tight ends and over the middle. So certainly something that's going to prove him to be very good in the NFL. Seems to be able to get around blockers pretty decently, but does need to kind of work on his engagement skills, trying to get off those blockers a little bit better, especially on the second level. But yeah, he's certainly somebody that I think is a little bit under the radar, obviously being at BYU. But man, he just has kind of the feel and the look of a great linebacker. And somebody's I think gonna get a steal in the late day 2, early day 3. Probably I would say probably maybe 4th rounder for this guy. But man, he really does have the potential, if molded properly, to become a pretty good NFL linebacker for sure. But he's also been at BYU for a long time. He's one of the older players for sure. So certainly something to look at, and maybe might slip him down the draft board.
Yeah, probably projects as a weak side linebacker in a 4-3. This is the part of the show where we get into the next group, including Bywater, as guys that are going to be day 3 guys, I think. And you can kind of rotate some guys in depending on your taste, depending on your scheme, things like that. So that is Ben Bywater. Good read and reactability, good versatility. He's older. Let's roll on to number 8, and that is J.J. Weaver out of Kentucky. Kind of a mix of an edge rusher, linebacker. Obviously the size, 6'5", 297, redshirt senior. I think he's going to be, a 3-4 outside linebacker at the next level. He's totaled 40 tackles, 6.5 tackles for loss, and 5 sacks this season. He's also had 2 pass breakups, 2 quarterback hurries, 2 fumble recoveries, and a forced fumble. This guy, I remember watching the Louisville game, and he was all over the football field. He was one of the guys that really popped off the tape. He won SEC Defensive Player of the Week that week. when I think, when they took down Louisville. I think they lost to Louisville, but he was really good. But anyway, he's a player that passes the eye test in a lot of different areas. This is one of those like first guys off the bus dudes, lengthy physique, broad upper body. I think this pick is all about projection and banking on his upside. I think he does his best work off the edge, off a 4-point stance. He does have inconsistent get off. He does lack high level quickness. He's not a twitch athlete. And I think in order for him to be like, just bring it to the next level in the NFL, his coverage drops need to get better, or they need to be extremely limited, or they need to be avoided altogether. So he has a lot of work to do when it comes to coverage, but in the right system, it's interesting. I think the pieces to the puzzle are all there for JJ Weaver. I think he's a safe bet to be a rotational depth guy, and someone to develop based on his ridiculous measurables and football IQ. So you're banking on the upside. You're banking on his potential. He screams early day 3 to me, but that is JJ Weaver.
Yeah, he's a big guy, man, and somebody can mold him. He is one of those complete raw potential guys. So,
all right, let's roll on to our number 9, Danny Stutman, Shane Half's boy out of Oklahoma.
Yeah, this Oklahoma guy is a great coverage linebacker. Just seems to have a great feel for it, and often is breaking up plays. Arrives at the receiver right as the ball is coming. So he really just does have that instinct and that feel in the coverage game. But he's also great at working off blockers, knowing when to kind of counter as the play goes along. Flashes some great closing speed and agility to reach the quarterback or potentially help in the run game as he's in the backfield. Good ability as a blitzer, certainly something that he could gain a little bit more ability there. But I think when it comes down to it, he seems to have a good athleticism to him, but he needs to add some strength. He needs to add some pop to his hits and be a little bit more of an effective, kind of pursuit kind of guy. So Stutman certainly has the potential. I'm going to go probably 4th rounder on this, but yeah, he's definitely somebody that can add some strength and really add some pop to his hitting, and really could bring a nice overallness to his game.
Yeah, Danny Stutman, man, like that's the guy when you watch any Oklahoma game, like he's always around the football.
Yeah.
He is the heart and soul of that defense. They have another guy named Billy Bowman who's really good too. He's a safety prospect. Yeah. I like him a lot. But yeah, Danny Stutman is like Mr. Everything for that Oklahoma defense.
Were you contractually obligated to say that for Shane?
Yeah, probably. No, he's not the biggest believer in Danny Stutman, especially at the next level too.
Oh, he's probably a little more critical. I get it.
Yams is in the house saying top 10 linebackers in the draft, none of which because they have some sort of deep-seated Freudian hatred toward the position. Facts. You're spot on there, Yams. But to wrap up our rankings, let's talk about Jalen Ford out of Texas. Just raw potential, man. That's what you're looking at. He's a built linebacker who has been highly productive the last 3 years. High motor player with really good athleticism to go sideline to sideline. I think he's got interesting versatility. I'm not sure if he's going to be a Will or a Mike at the next level, which I think is a compliment. I think he's got some really intriguing explosive traits, especially when he's working downhill. He attacks blocks aggressively, has really good play strength. He's an effective tackler in the open field, really good range, really good lateral quickness, has no problem shadowing slot receivers in coverage. Negative-wise, he just needs to continue improving his instincts. He's not a finished product by any means, so there's a long way to go for him. but he's got a lot of appealing traits, namely his size, athleticism, power, motor. All those project him to be a potential starter at the next level. I currently have him pegged as a day 3 guy, but Jalen Ford, definitely a name to watch out for.
Yeah, no, he's definitely one of those guys, the linebackers that just has like safety skills. He's one of the better coverage linebackers in this class for sure. And yeah, he certainly shows it. He's around the ball at all times.
Yep, absolutely. And we'll be watching him closely during the college football playoff for sure, especially and Junior Coulson.
Yeah. Maybe they'll meet up.
Hopefully. But again, guys, that is our top 10 linebacker rankings. We've already covered offensive tackle, edge rusher, and cornerback. Please be on the lookout for our next draft poll. You guys voted for linebacker last time. We'll put out another poll for you to vote for to let us know which position ranking we should do next. Ryan, final thoughts on the group? Final thoughts?
Listen, I'm never gonna not love linebackers, and I love watching film. I love diving into these guys and all that. That being said, I want a linebacker. I want one bad, Howie. Get me a linebacker, and get me one named Trotter Jr. Please do what you got to do, buddy. The potential of having this kid in Philly. There's just no stadium that could hold that potential. The Axeman Jr. comes home. I mean, think of how many chains you're gonna have a little axe. You're gonna sell at the stadium, and there's Trotter jerseys that I'm gonna probably buy 3 of.
Yeah,
come on, Howie, do it. Figure it out, buddy. Sorry,
I watched a lot of Clemson games this year, and when he drops the Axeman, there's like a smile that comes on to my face. I don't know how to explain it. Like, it's comforting. It's just something about it. It just feels right. And him in Eagles green and midnight green would just feel right. I absolutely agree. I think the Eagles need to address this position, especially high in the draft. And I know that's not going to be a first round, but you got to attack this position as if Nakobe Dean's not on this roster. There's enough evidence that injury concern, that injury history is absolutely real. So I would, regardless of Dean being on this roster, you need to look at a potential starter moving forward. And hopefully that Niners game when Nicholas Morrow got just picked apart, Cunningham dealing with injuries. Now you bring in a vet with major injuries in Shaq Leonard. Like, this position is hurting. It is really hurting to the point where it's costing you football games. So, there's no doubt in my mind that if they had addressed this differently, perhaps we're having a different conversation following that Niners game when Brock Purdy just tore apart Morrow going left to right and on the edges. So
they need to spend one of their top 3 picks on a linebacker. It's unacceptable if they don't.
Yeah. Yep. It needs to happen. But guys, thank you everyone for watching. Again, please be sure to check out our YouTube channel. We're going to put down the poll. I'm not sure what positions we'll put on there. I'll talk to Ryan after this. But please be sure to vote. He is Ryan Reese at Philly Sports PSA. Go check out Philly Sports Alliance. I am Dibes. We'll catch you on the next one. Stay awesome, everyone.